What the deal? Peace to the gods, peace to the earth. It's your man King Lou, as King Lou is Allah. Coming to you on this knowledge day of January. Knowledge equals wisdom. In supreme mathematics, one is knowledge, knowing about everything in existence. Two is wisdom. And wisdom is the capability to discern situations based on your knowledge and to develop intuition and to be right and exact. So wisdom is a characteristic of being right and exact in your everyday life. So you must, to be God, Goddess, God, body of earth, 5%, you must develop wisdom in order to progress and succeed in life. It takes wisdom, right? So I'm gonna talk about a couple things today. I don't know if they go together. I'm gonna try to connect them all. I'm gonna try. But I'm gonna update you on the haters and the people I was talking about in my movie on this channel, H8erz, and what they do. And so people been asking me for an update. I didn't want to do it no more. I'm trying to move on. This like, I had to let people know, what was going on with the beef they was hearing, right? And so I'm gonna talk about the riot at the White House real quick, and I'm gonna talk about Dr. Neely Fuller, right? Well, everybody chiming in saying that the Donald Trump is the cause of the raid on the Capitol and all this other stuff. And I'm like, and people got a problem that white people ain't being shot after shooting some people. In my opinion, looking, and I haven't watched, I watched like 5 seconds with the volume down, and I'm like, I'm just not interested, right? And but people are in awe of the situation. I think it's the Democrats, honest. I don't think I haven't heard anywhere where Donald Trump is telling people to set it off like this, but I think it's the Democrats. I think they're really stepping on, turning up, trying to hit Donald off. Like I said before, anybody not in the same tax bracket as Donald Trump, is not going to affect him. And so, I think they doing all this trying to affect Donald Trump. Now, I'm not a president supporter. I don't worship men, and I'm not into presidents. I'm just telling you how I think it is, right? How I think it. I'm not sure, but I think it's the Democrats staging all these things. I think it's the Democrats that introduced and hit us with COVID-19. Knowing Donald probably wouldn't been able to deal with it, but he did deal with it. I don't see how you blame one man for COVID, not for coming airborne disease that they don't know nothing about coming to the United States. I don't think that's solely his fault that we have COVID, but these Democrats want you to believe that, right? Man, we got to stay awake, man. I think the Democrats are worse than Donald Trump, man. And if you on point with him, Donald Trump, then you need to stay on point when this so-called so-and-so better, if you ain't black, if you black, then you vote for me, dude, take the White House. That's more racist than I heard Donald Trump ever talk. So I think, deeply, I think they're the ones responsible for COVID and the Capitol, because now they're using that to try to impeach him the last 9 days in office, and so he won't run again. See, he can, since he only served for one term, he has the opportunity to run again. So they trying to make it so he don't run again. But I think that's just hate. I don't, like I said before, we should not live our life where the government makes or breaks us, right? The decisions they make affect us. We need to stack money, get money, save money, hide money, hoard money, grow our own food, create our own energy, build our own community, buy our own homes off. That's how we need to live. So we won't be so dependent on government interceding, right? So yeah, man, I think the Democrats is behind what's going on in DC, right? And I just hope y'all stay on point when that old dude get up in there. What else want to talk about? So I was listening to Neely Fuller today, and Neely Fuller has, he's very popular in the older conscious lecture community, right? He about as famous as Dr. Umar in his demographic. Now, I don't know how old Neely Fuller is, but he pushing 80, right? So he up there, right? And, he can come off a little bitter, right? Well, he gonna be more bitter than somebody my age or younger because of the United States that he grew up in, right? He was in the 10th grade in the 1940, or he was 10 years old in 1940, he said, or in the 10th grade or something. So, he up there, right? And so his knowledge, experience, and wisdom is deeper than mine and ours with knowledge of self. He been around, and he been banging on racism, for a long time. Racism and white supremacy for a long time. So much so I don't know his educational background, but Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, he quoted and used his codification of how to counter white supremacy and identify white supremacy in your life. He wrote a book and a workbook, right? And so so I was peeping him today. He gets your mind right. Very, very sharp old man, right? And some of his things is like, grandfatherish. He don't understand the tattoo. He think tattoos is a sign of slavery. I was chiming in, and like, tattoos is, a sign of freedom. That's our war paint. This is how we identify and separate ourselves from being the norm and conforming to white supremacy, right? And so I was trying to explain that to him, and then so, now, he writing exact, he say he teaching us, his goal is to counter racism. We got to come up with a code, with some tools that works all the time to counter racism, right? And so so some of the things he says, writing is that, but he went on a rant, and I put the audio up on my Facebook. He went on a rant talking about how everything black people do in America is created and ruled and run by white supremacy. Everything, he says 9 key things in society that everybody does that's run by society. It's education, and what he says, education, it's industry, it's religion, it's entertainment, it's healthcare, gut politics, and some more things, like 3 more things that's run by, and everything, the 9 major keys to life and society is run by finance. Banking is run by white people, which is white supremacy. And he was saying, if you get so what, you got a degree, got an education, but who gave you that education? White supremacy, right? And he was like, so what, you make $200 million, who paid you that? White supremacy. So what, you got a $500,000 car, who made that and who benefited from you buying that? White supremacy, right? So that's what he's saying. Who, it's like, don't nothing mean nothing if you black and you didn't make it. So that's what he's trying to say, right? And I'm like, I hear that, right? But my thing is, this with Dr. Umar, this one, me and him differ. But, I still got, mad respect for Dr. Umar and Dr. Neely Fuller, right? You're gonna need an education. If you want to build, if you need to build. And I was saying this about what Farrakhan and Elijah Muhammad would say about having a separate nation within the United States. All the materials and construction equipment gonna come from white people. So if you want to build, you're gonna need an education. It's the job, depending on your age, the job of your parents and your cipher, that's your network of people, to make sure you stay pro-black and conscious. See, pro-black does not mean anti-white. Pro-black mean you recognize there is still a struggle within your black ethnic community, right? And it's so much of a struggle that other ethnic groups may not see it, because they busy building and doing what they have to do to sustain their lineage and their community, right? So but when he said, like he was saying, So what you got a degree, what that mean? It mean you supposed to teach one, each one teach one. So if I get an education, if I get education in business and knowledge of self, it's my duty, to teach my immediate cipher, and then them to go teach about building black business and owning black business, and not being a product of your environment, but making your environment a product of you. If you were positive, productive, motivated citizen of society, you supposed, and you get a lot of knowledge, you supposed to build within your community, black business, black education. You're supposed to build black businesses, black schools, and black banks, and black grocery, and you're supposed to know how to compete, in the market, right? And it's called market share. That's tapping into markets that's already heavily saturated and populated with businesses with the same business model and the same business idea. You got to learn and figure out how to succeed in this world of white supremacy, with black business and black education. So, that's, it's counterproductive. He want to counter racism, but it's counterproductive because if you say, your education is given to you by a white man and your job given to you by a white man, well, how you gonna progress if you don't get an education? If you don't learn, how you gonna progress? You see, so, some of that, I think it was a rant, man. And, even if you take a trade, you're gonna need some entrepreneurial classes to build your business, to build on your trade. Because, if not, you're gonna be an employee for somebody looking for racism. So, you're gonna need to learn how to build and how to sustain your own business, and you can only do that through education. So I don't know no other way to do it. I don't know no other way to break free of white supremacy but to build your own, and that's through education. And I believe education is universal. The only thing is racism is history, because they dilute slavery, and it's subliminally taught when every president is white. So you see the white supremacy in grade school to high school to college history is because all the presidents are white or have white parents, so they, what they would call biracial, right? So, man, without an education, it's gonna get, it's gonna be hard to get somewhere. It's gonna be hard to bang on white supremacy if you're not educated. If you don't know how to talk and walk and represent your side, So, man, Dr. Fuller, he done seen a lot, man. He done been through a lot. He done seen a lot. But I think, if we not educated, we gonna spend the rest of our life trying to identify white supremacy. That was his, that's what he's saying, and that's gonna be the case without an education. So, the United Negro College Fund message said the way out of poverty is through education. So brothers and sisters need to learn. They got to learn, right? You got to learn how to learn, and you need to learn, right? And then, so now, right? I'm address these haters, man, because they don't learn. They haven't learned, man. An update. ever since, I was rapping, and I'm always gonna rap, no matter what. I'm just rap, what I'm saying. I'm think up rap, write some raps, make some music, make some songs. No matter if they get published, come out, put it, it don't matter. But I was, doing studio work with, this dude, the, Robinson brother, back in 94, 93, 94, 92 to 94, we was rapping. Excuse me. We was rapping. And together, we formed, on the group Deep Six. Just me and him, it was two people. The group was named Deep Six, right? And so, dude uneducated, he dropped out in the 9th grade. And I'm like, and so, he was lying about his age for a long time. He still lie about his age today. So I don't know if I'm 3 or 4 years older than the dude, right? But he was young. I was like 20, 19, 18, and he was, if I'm 3, 4 years older and I'm 19, home from freshman year to Tuskegee, he like 16, 15 years old. And we in the hood drinking and smoking weed and riding around the town, walking around the hood. And so I'm thinking he of age, not Lacey, like, I wasn't even thinking he was 16, 15 years old. You know what I'm saying? So, so now they, trying to make it where he was young. Man, they, his dad, his brothers, so when we reflect, it's like, they had me babysitting this dude. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, man, but, and so so now I'm trying to understand why he was so impressionable and, wanted to run around with his big brother, Vincent Robinson. So I'm talking about Vincent and Carl Robinson, right? I don't like saying their name, but last I heard, last month, 2 months ago, Vincent got locked up. So, as of right now, just based on what I heard, he's currently incarcerated. He got incarcerated on a trespass charge. His girlfriend of 30 years, from what I hear, had enough, and she wanted him gone. She had took the toilet paper. Dude wasn't wiping his ass, wasn't brushing his teeth, wasn't eating right, wasn't, changing his clothes, and she had enough. And I think she had to call the police like 3, 4 times, and they come. And this is what I heard. I'm not sure, but she called the police, and he didn't, he went to jail back in 97, 95, 97, and he got out, and he didn't complete his probation. And so he been out like 20 years, 23 years. And so they ran his name, and, so he locked up, right? And what I said in the movie, H8erz and what they do. Her little sister, Mika's little sister, Vincent Robinson, long-term girlfriend, who Carl was living with, said, when your brother leave, you gotta go. So when my sister through with your brother, I'm gonna be through with you. And so I heard, y'all can check fact, y'all can ride over there on Chicago and Myers, right? Between Plymouth and Chicago on Myers, right? And he got put out, and he didn't want the police card on him, and so now he's squatting. He's squatting in a vacant house. This is what I heard. He's squatting in a vacant house, and he robbing to eat. He robbing gas stations and convenience stores, to eat. Now, this is what I heard. I ain't snitching. I ain't down with dude. Dude foul. Dude, they hit my house a couple of times, vandalized my car, and attempted to carjack my mother, and they robbed some of my relatives. So I'm not down with that bullshit. I ain't snitching. And the only way why would I go take the law into my own hands when they supposed to be arrested? I could be a D-boy. I can even be a criminal. And they so damn low down and poor and broke. Telling the police, will help them if they take advantage of some of the programs in the correction institute, jail. You see what I'm saying? And so, he's squatting, robbing to eat, right? They got another brother, the second oldest, and I ain't gonna say his name, but y'all know, he went to Mumford, dark skin like Carl, graduated with me. He got put out, or he got put out. He was unemployed, living off his wife for 5, 6, 7 years, I heard. And he got put out. That's what I heard. I don't know. They could be running game. I don't know. But he got put out, and he got dropped off at Carl's house. Mika's sister house. He got dropped off. She told him he not here. He found the house his little brother was squatting in and started living with him, right? And then I heard that they got tired of each other after a week, a couple days, and Carl went and squatted in another house. So now they separated. This is what I heard. Now, that dude that graduated, he kind of soft. He ain't, street like that. He want to be, he pretend, but he been kept, right? Like a kept man. So him squatting in the house is like, right? Like they trying to run some kind of, it's a game, a play or something, maybe. I don't know. But, this is what I heard, right? So, man, it sounds like they catching hell. They deserve it. I don't gloat or boastful about somebody going through hell, man. They, man, they some foul brothers, man. It's just, karma come back to bite the dude in the ass, when you live wrong, And so, it's what leads me to this, man. I got, Fat Stank. Fat Stank living home, still living home. He like 51 years old. He still living home with his dad. From what I heard, he don't move. He don't have no money. And he was talking shit the other night. He tried to, people think he's a street dude, but he not, because he sold weed a lot back in the 80s and 90s. But, he was perpetrating. His parents bought him the Blazer, and, he was selling weed to his cousins and shit, right? So he wasn't he fraudulent. He fraud. And so fraud and fake hate always gonna hate real. That's why I got a lot of beef. That's why I can't with a lot of people, because I'm real. And I tell you straight up, no, like, it's somebody acting like they straight and they gay. I'm like, nigga, you gay. You know what I'm saying? Quit fronting and faking. I'm straight up. I'm real. Fake, fraud people hate real, right? So he was talking shit like the other day, talking about some, you work for UPS, right? And you done this. Now, when you talk about me, I got time, I got history, and, I got history in the streets. And me working for UPS and H8erz and First of America Bank was court ordered, right? I got in a little trouble, and I got out on unsupervised home arrest, right? I was out on unmonitored home arrest. Sometimes they would, they said they was gonna call and the phone ring. I mean, back then in '92, the police made me so paranoid. I was paranoid of white vans going down the street. I was paranoid when the phone rang. You know, this after coming out of, you know, the Bing, right? And so they said, you know, I could, you know, I'm under house arrest, but I can go to work and school. I was enrolled in Wayne State at the time, and you know, they said I can go to school and I can go to work. I got to find a job, right? You know, a job keep me out of trouble. I was 19 years old. I was still a teenager. I was 19. I could have been charged as an adult, and they was, you know, figuring out was they gonna charge me as an adult or charge me as a teenager. I was 19. I was 19, finna turn 20, right? I was like 1-2 months away from turning 20. So I got charged at 19. I was 19 years old. And you know, this dude talking like I wasn't a driver at UP. I unloaded trucks. And it was a call-in temporary position. Like I had to call in to see if they needed me. And I was living down by Wayne State. This 93. I was could have been 94. I was living down by Wayne State, and I would call in, and you know, sometime I think they say, well, they need me at 9, I go in at night, and I will unload the trucks, and you know, my hands are like my fingers and my hands are swell up, man. It wasn't nothing medical. It was just, you know, how much boxes I was unloading them trucks. And you know, I got sick of cardboard. You know, to this day, cardboard make me nauseous and shit, right? I go around a lot of cardboard, and I can't do it. But you know, UPS let me go, man. I wasn't in, you know, it wasn't no uniform, was no driver. I was just unload the trucks, and you know, then they had me walk around the other side to load the trucks, or you know, do something on the conveyor belt, and you know, I come to later learn, you know, they got a thing about speed, like, you know, how fast you walk, right? You know, they train they delivery drivers to walk a certain speed so you can, you know, giddy up, right? And so I'm in a warehouse, right, downtown. And, you know, dudes say, one of the managers say, you know, come on this side. So I'm walking. Couple minutes later, an hour later, he called me in the office and say, you know, you ain't gonna work out. And I was like, what? You know, just out the blue, he said, you ain't gonna work out. And you know, he said something about you wasn't walking with me when I was walking to the other side. You know, you wasn't walking, felt like you was trying to keep up with me. I said, well, you know, I was being careful because there's boxes and roller belts all over the place, and I didn't want to hurt myself. So I was just I wasn't, you know, being lazy. I didn't want to go with them. I was just, you know, really being careful. But they said no, and you know, they said we don't give you no bad reference. You know, we give you good reference, but you know, you ain't gonna work out. And so I was there like a month or two, and I walked home and I walked from the old Greyhound, you know, back to my apartment. It was nice, Hart Plaza. I walked through Hart Plaza down Woodward. Wasn't nothing. But dude acting like I had a career there, you know. It was, you know, a job I found on the Wayne State College Board. And all the three of them jobs I found on the Wayne State College Board. So, you know, it's something I had to do to impress the court that I was not going to get in any more trouble. So, you know, but, you know, I learned that I don't never want to fuck with UPS. And, you know, they hire, you know, I was in trucking. And, you know, they hire owner operators. And, you know, UPS got their own airline. You know, they a big-ass company like FedEx. You know, they a $1 billion company. So I ain't dissing, but you know, all that brown, like if I wear like some brown jeans, I got some brown insulated jeans, people think I work for UPS. Not because of back then, but because that's what Detroit and Metro Detroit, Michigan mind be, right? Yes, that if you got a Ford, you work for Ford. If you got a GM, you work for GM. If you wear brown, you work for you. It's crazy, man. It's, you know, it's the blue collar industry, and it's sometimes sickening, man. You know, brothers can't, you know, free their mind, free themselves from that way of thinking. You know, that's that's a form of slavery, mental slavery. When you identify people by their car, that they got to work for the manufacturer of that car. See what I'm saying? So yeah, you know, there was some jobs that I took while I was in college and trying to stay out of jail and impress the court. You know what I'm saying? So dude was talking shit, and you know, this is the same dude that, you know, his parents both of them work for GM, and you know, they didn't get him a job there because he too fat. He can't do nothing. You know, so he lived with his daddy. Talking about daddy, he 51. Daddy, can I eat? You know what I'm saying? That fat stank. You know, I don't want to play with you, man. You need to grow up. You living in my past. You living in the past. In 92, 93, 95, I'd have beat your fat ass like I do today. And you steady running for a gun because you a bitch. See what I'm saying? I don't want to play with you. Not a little bit. Grow up, get off me. Before I pull up on you and do something to you ain't gonna like. Nah. I'll be outside. You know where I live. You know, you got a problem. You want to talk about what I'm saying, nigga, pull up. For real. And then Doodle Brown ain't doing shit from what I heard. His mama then took the toilet paper, toothpaste, and the soap from him. So he go downstairs, take a dump, and don't wipe or wash his ass neither. Now this is what I heard. They don't grow. They little boys still living in the past. So, you know, there's the update on the haters, man. I gotta go to the bathroom. So that's it, man. Peace out. I'm gone.